Hi everyone, my name's Stacy Perez and this is my Ofrenda dedication to my grandparents John and Mickey Silva. Let's begin. So here is my actual ofrenda of what it looks like. From top to bottom are my grandparents John and Mickey Silva. On the side of each of them are the cardinal flowers, as any ofrenda would have. Then as we get lower to the bottom, we have the cardinal direction that show earth, wind, water, and fire. For those items, I picked on each side of the ofrenda. I picked flowers, succulents, because for me, succulents were placed all around my grandma's outdoor area, like the pool area, the other backyard they had. They were everywhere around. I think they put them there, I'm guessing, was because they require the least amount of water, and for them, being of old age, it was easier for them, and it just looked pretty. So that's what I remember when I was young and always at their house. In the middle, I have some, I think it's macaroni, fideo macaroni. They would always make the fideo with these shells. They're like little elbow shells, I believe. But, see, I don't even know what they're called. And I just get them when I go to the store. I just buy them because I just know that that's what my grandma used to cook fideo and a lot of other Mexican dishes with, because that's just what I remember. I don't even know what it's called, but it's pasta of some sort. But that's what I remember my grandma cooking most of all when all of us kids were around her house there for pool days or just gatherings. Next, I picked a banana because it was the it was the favorite fruit of my grandparents. Every time I just went over, saw them, they would always be eating a banana. They love bananas. So that was one of their favorite fruits. Another item I have on my ofrenda is, let's see, is the playing cards. I have playing cards because, again, in my grandma and grandpa's family, well, our family, we would play a lot of card games. Yeah, so that was a big part of our family. When we got together, had get-togethers, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc., we would always have a family poker night or just play cards in general. Next I have, can't see it here, but on the PowerPoint you could probably see it better. I have a sticky note with family, and then it has a heart around it. I was going to add a photo of my grandparents' children, but because they had 8 children, like the photo, I feel wouldn't fit. I don't have any small ones, that's why. I only have like enlarged photos of all the kids, and my mom included. But yeah, my grandparents, they love their family so much. It was like every day at my grandparents' house. When I lived by, when I lived far, every holiday was spent at their house. Anything, everything was at their house. So that's one big aspect that I remember about my grandparents. So that's why I put a family symbol, because they love their family dearly. Another item I have on the ofrenda to represent and remember my grandparents are the potatoes. Like any Mexican household, we love papas. And as I've been saying, when I spent the night or we stayed at my grandparents' house, my grandma or my grandpa would cook papa fritas or just papas with egg or tortillas, made homemade tortillas. So papas would be in like every dish. I don't know, whether it be like I guess avondiga soup with papas, or just papas by itself in a tortilla, or papa burrito, or anything. I remember papas being a big part of our meals for anything we ate at my grandma's. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Somehow papas would be included. So yeah, that's what I remember about my grandparents. They would both always make papas for us so many times. Another item I picked to always remember my grandparents is in their yard they had a lemon and a lime tree that would be growing from the corner of their backyard. And that's what I remember seeing a lot as a kid growing up around them and staying at their house. They would always never run out of lemons or limes, and they would always have margaritas around. So, yeah. And also in their backyard that grew a lot, or they would plant a lot, would be tomatoes. They would have chilies. These weren't exactly the chilies they grew. They're the little red ones. I forgot what those little red ones are called, but they had the little red ones or the little orange chilies. But these are the chilies I had in my fridge, and that's what I picked because they're the most similar thing I could get to what they had. And then another fruit they really loved, but not just by itself. They love to put salt on it, or like pico de gallo type of salt on their green Granny Smith apples. I don't know. Like a lot of grandparents, they had their habits of what kept them living longest. And for them, it was their green apples. That's what they would tell me. Like, you have to have one green apple a day in order to get along. So that's why I put green apples, because that was their favorite fruit. And that was just something I remembered them with. Another item I put on that's included on my Ofrenda is a rose. A rose because it symbolizes my grandma. Anytime we would go to my grandma or my grandpa, anytime we would go to anybody's house, they would always bring a bouquet of roses. I don't know exactly what that symbolized, but they said if you didn't bring a bouquet of roses for the lady of the house, it was like disrespectful. So in other words, they're very traditional on respect and yeah, so that's why I picked that too. And also because they grew a lot of different types of roses in their garden that they had in their backyard, but mostly red roses. And my grandma, like many other grandparents, would always be cutting or just taking care of their garden. So that is that. Another item I included on my Ofrenda was the pumpkin. So the Halloween pumpkin specifically, because my grandparents, they loved Halloween, especially my grandma. She loved to scare the kids. I had this one photo, I couldn't include it here because I just think it was too like just too dark or inappropriate to show, but she dressed up as I don't know if it was Dracula or just a witch, but it was like freaky and it was like really scary in a black and white photo. But she used to like sit out for kids to come and just scare them. Like nowadays, people get scared in haunted houses, so she would do something like that. But yeah, so that's why I picked a pumpkin, because it reminded me of my grandma mostly. And my grandpa, they just love Halloween. They love Halloween, giving candy to the kids and scaring the kids, etc. It's their favorite holiday. Another item I picked were the butterflies on each side. I put them on each side because just because there's two people in my dedication, and I picked the butterflies because, like as the professor said, that butterfly transformation, and it's a coincidence because when I was growing up, my grandma would say every time you see a butterfly, it's somebody who is transforming into like another life, like the afterlife of living. And I never got that until sometime later. But yeah, it's weird though, because like anytime I see a butterfly, I just think of them. So that's why I included the butterflies for me, to remember them. That's my inclusion of the butterflies. What else did I not mention? I think I mentioned oh, the shot glasses. So I included the shot glasses because it reminded me of them. They love to drink around family, around social gatherings, at their house. It was just something well, not we, but they did with adults and other friends, family. And then lastly, I have the candle in the middle, which represents fire, because they would always have candles in their house too. Just if somebody passed away or if we actually had a new member of the family, we'd pray for them for a certain amount of days and pray the rosary, etc. And the candles were just always around the house. And it's just a beautiful candle, like any Ofrenda, they have candles all around the house. And then I included the Day of the Dead skull or the colorful skull because, like any Ofrenda, they're included and it's part of their ritual. Color, Day of the Dead. And lastly, here's a close-up of my grandparents. And I included a guitar because my grandpa, any social gathering or anything, like when he felt it, he would just play music for all of us and we'd all sing, especially them two. They would love to sing together. And there was a story where I feel that, well, they told us that they actually met when he would sing with his band. He had a band and he was a boxer at the same time, so it was kind of a weird story, but it was cute at the same time. That she met him while he while he was at his little recital or performance, and she met him and she fell in love with him, and she just loved his singing and whatnot. But yeah, so I witnessed them singing together. We'd always, every time we had a family gathering, we would join up in the backyard by the pool and all sing together. And they would both love to sing Vicente. Is it Vicente Hernandez? I'm not Vicente Hernandez. Yes, Vicente Hernandez. Sorry. But yeah, that's my ofrenda, and thank you. Bye bye.